Hello everyone and welcome to day 4 of Python Expert tutorial series. In this series or in this particular day, we are going to discuss about the advanced data types we have in Python. So for example, you can see on the screen, we are going to discuss today list, we are going to discuss tuple, then dictionary, and then the set. So let's go to the Google Colab. So little bit about list, right? So list has the ability to actually store multiple values of multiple types, right? It is something which is ordered. Um, it has the indices and it is immutable. Basically, we can change values we have inside a list. So let me just call list one, right? Something like that. And then the key important part while creating a list is that it always start with square bracket, right? So let's say I can say one, two, three, four, and maybe I can say my name, right? In brackets, then probably I can say Python, right? Then I can say again um, 2.0 or 1, or maybe you can say 3.9. So my point is that list has the ability to actually store multiple types of values, right? So you can see over here it's a string, right? Nishant is a string, 2.0 is a float. It like the couple of numbers in the beginning are like integers, right? So anything which is actually starting and putting inside the brackets over here, that becomes your list. But then there's something as well which I mentioned is that this is ordered. When I say ordered, basically the order of these values which are there in the list remains the same. So when I say let me just run it and then try printing it out. Print list one, right? So you can see over here that the order 1, 2, 3, 4, Nishant, Python 2.0, 2.1, 3.9. So the order remains the same. And I think it's very important lesson to learn over here that the numbers over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? In Python, the index, basically the value or the position of 1 starts with 0, not with 1. So basically what I'm trying to say is if I have to say print, right? List one, inside that I want to print, let's say 0, right? It's not going to print 0. No, it's going to print basically the value which is at the position 0. That is your 1. So the lists, right? Here the index start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So the index is starting from 0 to 7, whereas you can check the length. Length remains what? Total 8, right? So you can say print length of list one, right? So it should give you value of 8, right? I hope you follow. Let me repeat this piece, which is a little important. So inside a list, the index start from 0, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whereas the length of your list is actually 8, which start from 1. List, it can actually store multiple types, um, value of multiple types inside it, and we can change these values. For example, I'm going to write it in the next session. By the way, I'm going to like talk about all these detailing, like what are different functions which are inbuilt by default um, on the front layer of the Python, which we can use. For example, here you can see print, length, right? I'm going to talk about a couple of them as well in the coming, not really coming in the next video only. So basically I'm going to talk about length, I'm going to talk about append, I'm going to talk about count, extend, insert, index, remove, clear, all these things. I'm going to talk about it in detail in the next video using the list and other advanced data type we have in Python. Anyways, so when I say changeable, right? So I can actually change the values, right? Um, or I can change the value, or I can actually add values towards the end. So for example, I am going to, let's say, um, list one dot append, right? And I'm going to append it with what? Let's say I'm going to write finance at the end. Right. So if I run this one, so the finance word is actually by default added to this list. And now if I try printing it out, right, you can see that same word. Sorry. Now if I run it, you can see finance is being added over here. See? So this is the beauty of list. If you have any questions or you still want me to repeat anything, please put into the comment section and I can come back to you. Okay, now let's talk about a tuple, right? So let me just put it over here, text, so that it's right. So tuple, they're also just like list only, but I think the key difference is that they are immutable. So basically you cannot change the values which are inside tuple. Let's create one tuple. So let's say tuple 01, right? And I'm going to create the another difference between list and tuple is that in tuple, right, you start with what do you call parenthesis, okay? Or you can say small bracket or round bracket, whatever you feel like calling it, you can call it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, you can again store multiple types right inside it, right? 2.1, 3.9. I'm trying to create the similar tuple with the way we have it like in the list and run it. Now, what is the way? Okay, I think I didn't tell you that what is the way to actually check whether this is actually a list or not, right? So how can you do that? You can go here, you can say print. What do you want to print? You want to print the type, right? Type of what? Your list one, right? And click on it. It will give you the list as the type you can see over here. Got it? The same way, how would you know that this is a tuple? So you can actually print the type of your tuple. So that is 01. Right, if I click over here, it should give me the type as tuple. So that's the difference, right? Now, the way I mentioned that you cannot actually change the values or things like that, you cannot use the append. So for example, if I'm going to say tuple, right, 01 dot append, and I want to append with finance the way we tried doing it into the list. Let's run it. It should throw an error. It's going to say that, hey, you cannot use append because it's a tuple. You cannot change the values which are actually inside this bracket, right? But there is a workaround. So you can actually change your tuple to a list, right? How can you do that? So there's an easy way, right? So how can you do that? So I am going to call list2 as your I'm going to convert using the function list tuple which we have here, right? So what I'm doing here, I'm actually calling this tuple and converting this into a list using the list function, right? I think it's going to be small l, but let's see. Yeah, it feels like a small l. Yep, it is. Right, so this is now converted. Now you can do whatever you want. So you can actually append it by using the append formula. So what you can do, you can now say list2 dot append with finance, right? Now this will be appended with the word finance. Then you can further convert, and actually I can show you by printing it as well. So here you can print first type, right? So that you know this is being converted into list2. Um, then here you can print whether this word is being added or not. So you can say list2 here as well. So now you can try running both of these one by one. So this is list, right? So this tuple is now converted into a list. Here if I click again, So you can see the word finance is being added, but then the key difference is your square brackets here, right? Because this is a list, so that's why we have square brackets. Now we have to convert this back into tuple, right? So what you can do, you can call tuple02 equals to tuple list 2. That's it. I think I need to convert this t small. Yep, tuple, and then run it again. Here you go. So now you have tuple, right? So now you can actually print it as well. Print. First, you can check the type of this tuple 02, right? And then you can try running it as well. So basically this you can see here, this is tuple. Now you can run it. Basically you can just output the tuple 02, right? You can see the now finance is being added and we have the small or the round or the parenthesis over here. Got it? So this is a workaround for the tuples. The next one we have in the queue is your dictionary, right? So let's talk about dictionary a little bit. Let me add a couple of lines here. So dictionary, right? Okay. Now there's a slight difference in dictionary. So dictionary has two values. One, you have something called keys, and then we have your values next to them, right? So this is the key difference. Let me just give you one example. Dictionary 01, let's say it's always start with curly bracket. So I'm going to put curly brackets here. Okay. Now let's say I'm going to put a name, Nishant, right? Then colon, and the values, let's say 17, right? Then again, the Python, right? Sorry, colon has 18. Then let's say find is another key which has a value of 19. Then let's say another one we have is values, or instead of values, let's say search, right? It has a value of 20. Now you can see literally over here in this dictionary, first difference is that it has a key over here. So these values which are like in the front, right? They are nothing but the keys. And then the ending piece is your value. So basically Nishant has a value associated with it, that is 17. Python has a value which is associated to it is 18. Find has 19 or search has 20. Now you can run it, right? You can check the type as well, right? Type of dictionary 01 and run it. You will see which is a dictionary is the data type, right? Now the second one is you can actually output just the keys, just the values as well, right? Or before you do that, you can actually also print your dictionary, right? Let's see what is going to come now. So you can see it's in curly brackets, right? That's the one difference. The another thing is you cannot have duplicates. So for example, I'm going to take this whole piece, right? Copy here. And let's say again, I'm going to call Nishant, right? Nishant has value of 21 as well. I'm closing the curly bracket, right? And then I'm going to call it as dictionary 2 and then print dictionary 02, right? But before that, I need to run the first one, ran it, and then the second one. Now look at the differences. The second Nishant, or like one of the Nishant is over, basically, it's not here. Got it? If I just make it value, let's say 1 and run it again, I'm going to show you one key difference here. You know what is happening? The latest value from here is keep on coming over here at the place of the older value. So that means only one Nishant is going to stay in this dictionary. There's no two meaning of Nishant. Now what you can do is basically you can output your keys as well. You can output your values as well. So let's try running it. So print, right? Print dictionary02 dot. I'm going to just pull out the keys out of it, right? And then run it. You see, all the keys are now here. You see? And let's see if I want to print just the values, I can do the same thing with values. You have all your values over here. Okay. So this is all about dictionary. So dictionary is not having any indexes. Rather, it has the keys and the values. Okay. Now let's talk about a little bit about set. Okay. So set. So set is also just like your dictionary, but I think the key important piece here is that they do not have keys and values concept. They do not have the index concept, but they do have duplicate concept. Basically, they are going to also store only unique values. Let me just give you one example. So let's say I'm going to call a or x equals to, and another piece is it's also in curly bracket, right? So let's say I'm going to type it, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and 6. I hope you see what I have done. I have put in multiple times 5 number over here in this particular set. I'm going to run it and then I'm going to print it first. And before I print it, I'm going to print the type of it, type of X, right? So it's going to say set. Yeah, that's there. Then I'm going to print the X and see what output are we going to get. You see, we have only one 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it, right? Let me repeat. Let me just type X or maybe Y this time equals to curly bracket start 954 12 817 2000, something like that, and run it. It is again a set, right? Now I'm going to print it, print Y, and see what you're going to get. Your 800, which is typically over here and somewhere in between, is now at the front. Your 2000, which is actually towards the end, is showing in the second place over here. So set is your unordered but carrying unique values, right? You follow? So this is unordered, right? But unique values, which is your set. Cool. So in this session, we have learned list, we have learned tuple, we have learned dictionary, and then set. In the next session, right, I'm going to cover a couple of key functions we have by default on Python. For example, your append, your extend, your copy, insert, remove, count, index, uh, many more. Okay, cool. Thank you so much.